Welcome to the Backyard Professor Responds videos coming at you. It's been a couple of days since I made some of these, but it's okay. Been gathering data. First, before I start, let me just say Joe Rogan gave a phenomenal interview to Dr. Garry Nolan, and I want to talk about an item that Garry Nolan talked about concerning Skywatcher, whom I have been quite critical of in the past. And Garry Nolan is working with Skywatcher. And so this is important because Garry Nolan is a scientist. So that's important to have on that team. That's true. Before I do, though, let me share some of my most recent watercolor art. I am on a watercolor kick, and I have never had so much fun painting in my life. This is a pure joy. I've been sharing it with hundreds of people privately on email lists. I will share it with you, my audience. This is my Misty Forest. Very fun piece to practice on. I love this type of stuff. I'd love to see this place. Very small. They say paint a small one a day, and in 1 year, you've gone through pretty much every technique there is and painted a lot of stuff. So I'm working on that. Here's another one that I did. This was supposed to be a half-hour long project. The lesson said, yes, this will take you half an hour. So I started at about 6:30 in the evening, and it wasn't until 5 minutes to midnight that I finished this project. This was incredibly difficult for me to paint, but I had a lot of fun, and I learned a lot. And that's what you do with watercolor. This is my waterfall. And very fun to, very exasperating. I'll tell you what, the paint slid all the way over there, and it wasn't supposed to. I had too much water, and I spent half the night trying to correct it so that my waterfall could get through. It was a lot of fun to do, though. And that's quite a bit bigger. And finally, this one was just last night, and it's a different type of technique, and I have fallen in love with this technique. I will do more with this technique. This is one I call my sunset, forest sunset. Very lovely place, completely invented, but it's a lovely place anyway. I had an enormous amount of fun painting this one as well. Again, half hour or so. Took me about 3 hours. So I've had quite a few people ask me, would you mind showing us while you're painting? I'm not good enough yet. I am not a professional painter. I am but a bare student at best. So I would have to do a boatload of editing. I would be willing to do that. If you're interested, let me know in the comments. I've got a 3-day weekend coming up. I've got a lovely painting I'm going to paint tonight. And perhaps once I paint it, I've had my practice, maybe I'll show it. So we'll see. Those who don't want to see the watercolor painting, you don't have to watch that video. Those of you who are here for the UFOs, let's rock it on the UFOs. Garry Nolan had a terrific discussion with Joe Rogan on lots of stuff, mostly his work and all. He did bring up Skywatcher. He brought up the problem with the American Science Academy is being run by lawyers instead of engineers like the Chinese are. And that's why they are forging ahead, and we're stuck in everybody suing everybody else and litigation and all that. We are so damn stupid to put lawyers in charge of our science that we're going downhill, becoming a fifth world country in science, and we had better wake the hell up quick. Lawyers have their place, not in science. It kills innovation. It destroys the basis of science to have a freaking lawyer litigating, well, let's sue them, or that can't be done, etc. Bullshit. Let's get rid of the lawyers out of science. I don't know why America has gone this route. We're so interested in business. We're so money-loving, greedy, hungry wretches right now. All we give a damn about is making money, and that's not what science is about. We're losing our technology to China because China showed some intelligence and put scientists in charge of science, not goddamn lawyers. That's my rant. I have nothing against lawyers as such. Lawyers in science? Hell no. Oh, hell no. Stop the train already, America. Wake up. Come on. And Garry Nolan talks about this problem. 3/4 of his students are foreign students, not because he doesn't want American students, but because the students in America don't study the math and they don't want to go into the science. So we've put lawyers in charge to try to sue all the rest of the world, which is asinine. It is bullshit stupid. I promised I wasn't going to rant and rave to myself before this, but holy, come on. America is doing some of the damnedest stupid stuff right now when it comes to science because of who's in charge. We're destroying NASA for the dumbest reasons. Anyway, that's my rant on that. The clip on Skywatcher is exquisite. Now, I am hoping sincerely I don't get a copyright claim on this. I'm going to share a clip from Joe Rogan on Garry Nolan and what he says about Skywatcher, and it is something that I had never put together before. Now, I've been critical of Skywatcher. Agreed, I have. In my opinion, I think legitimately so. But this point he brings up is very powerful. And so, you know, I trying to get all sides of this story is very, very critically important. And I did not think of it this way. But because of the nature of our American culture, it is so unfortunate that this makes good sense and why Skywatcher is doing what they're doing. I have to say I agree. And it's unfortunate because we have, there's no way to not get political. And we are so gun shy and embarrassed that we don't dare get political because so many people who are so bloody ignorant will rant and rave and cause a war within our country simply because they want their political way and don't want anybody else to have their own, which is so un-American. But that's how we are. So here's the clip on Skywatcher's idea that Garry Nolan shares, who is a part of it, and I entirely agree. Entirely. And it is unfortunate, but this is the fact. This is why. Let's listen to Dr. Garry Nolan.
Data files and trying to, as I said before, we're filtering the data, we're looking for the obvious mistakes, et cetera. And so, no, they've not stopped.
Yeah, there was something on Twitter about something about equipment. I forget.
No, so James Fowler, one of the guys who brought a lot of his equipment and technology to us, decided that he wanted to basically go off and work in a DoD capacity as opposed to the research capacity. But he's still advising us. I was just on a phone call, a Zoom call with him last week, going over the data files.
So explain this Skywatcher thing to people, because it sounds insane.
Well, the idea behind it was that there might be ways to send a signal and get things to show up. And James Fowler claimed that he had such a thing. we do have a picture of one next to the helicopter, about 200 feet away, and it's just kind of a fuzzy white blob against a blue sky. But it was there, and it's not a cloud, and it's not a balloon.
Mm-hmm.
It's not discernible as anything obvious, but it was there, and it happened during one of these events out in the middle of the desert. And so, so the idea is behind Skywatcher is to see if there are ways to get them to show up, and if so, in a reproducible manner, and then have the right kind of simultaneous multi-sensor capabilities to measure it, meaning radar, IR, visual, people on the ground.
What are they sending to get these things to go? What signal?
James has a signal that unfortunately he won't. I don't know what it is.
He won't let everybody know what the bat signal is.
Well,
to
I mean,
UFOs?
Maybe, yeah, exactly. I mean, it sounds kind of silly, but I mean, why would you put that out on the internet? Because you might render it useless. They're like, oh, I'm not going to show up. Everybody's using it now.
Oh, so you think it's a trick? Like it tricks them into showing up?
I don't know. I really don't.
Don't you think they'd be smarter than that?
Well, that tells you something maybe about the level of smarts that might be incorporated into these, let's say, dumber machines. Maybe, yeah. That was exactly my thought. Is like, why would you show up when you know what it is, unless there's a reason you're basically trying to train the monkeys what to do. Maybe you're tricking the monkeys into sending. I don't know.
But that's basically what I wanted to share with you here. Why would you share the signal when so many other people would use that signal to call them in and try to shoot them down and get their own technology? That wouldn't make sense either. So I get the idea of secrecy. I get the idea of skeptics thinking that the UFOs aren't very smart if they come in on this signal all the time and it's a trick. That makes sense too. Skywatcher has not stopped. What they've done is they've said from January to August, we're going to collect the data. And like Nolan says in this interview, we're now in the process of assessing the data, and then we'll put it all out there. So I was critical earlier. Why are you not putting out videos of these events? From Nolan's perspective, it doesn't sound to me like they've got a lot of stuff they can go with. There's not a lot of clear video, apparently. Now, I get it. Skywatcher was tooting its own horn, saying, yes, we can call them in anytime we want, etc. I no longer think that. I think that was a rhetorical flourish. I don't think that was the truth at all. These things are much more difficult to call in. They did talk about CE5. Neither one of them are convinced of it or sure that it works. Other people are. Everyone's all over the spectrum on all of this. I get it. So I just wanted to say, in defense of Skywatcher, they are still working on things and they have gathered a lot of data. Apparently, the question is, which is the anomaly and which is the illegitimate stuff? You have to sift through the data to make a good case. To me now, that makes sense. I get it. I understand why they're not kicking out videos the minute they get them, because the videos are tough to get. Again, one of these suggestions on the UAPs, if they are manipulating the gravity field, if they are manipulating space-time, and they are able to, say, jump from 50 feet above the ocean to 50 miles high instantaneously. Nolan says Kevin Knuth calculated the amount of energy that would take to do that one maneuver, and it would take the entire nuclear output of the United States of America for 1 year just to make that one maneuver once. And so we have Joe Rogan, Ross Coulthart, saying now he's convinced that it's human technology. If it is, we are vastly further advanced in technology, but no one's benefiting from it. And that is a serious problem. Humanity could have easily solved the starvation problem with this magnificent technology and with the advancement of help available. So this appears to me, and I'm entirely on Joe Rogan's side, and he really rants and raves in quite a few interviews about the crime of keeping the technology away from humanity to help humanity develop. And also they elaborate on the idea that perhaps AI really does need to develop, come in and take over, so that we quit thinking about war all the time, because we're just a bunch of stupid monkey asses who want to kill each other. And all we want to do is make better technology to kill the enemy faster, because everybody out there, them, they're the enemy. And we need to kill them and eliminate them. We are so bloody paranoia and so stupidly myopic and short-sighted as a humanity at this point, because we mistreat each other, and so we assume everyone else is going to mistreat us, that we need to be replaced with an AI that will help us again learn and quit worrying about war. If AI takes over, it won't have any war. It will be a peaceful, assuming, of course, it's programmed to have empathy. We really hope the programmers are putting empathy in AI. We're not sure if they are or not. I don't know. The versions that have come out, there's a lot of people who are disgruntled with it. It is a process. I don't know how I feel about it. I love using it to help me study the math and the physics and all that. And Nolan does talk about the advantage of AI in that regard. But, everybody's going to use AI to do what? Ridiculously, stupidly, and moronically try to figure out how to make stronger, better, bigger weapons. Good God, people, we can destroy ourselves 500 times over. Do you think you're going to be safer if we can take that to 1 million? God. It is disgusting how stupid all of the military thinking is in this world. And yet we can't get rid of it. I don't have the solution, but it will be our demise if we let it continue going on. But how do you get rid of it? I don't know. I have no idea. Proclaim peace. Yeah, well, let's live peacefully. But you, my audience, are not the ones that need that message and need to seriously begin living that. It's the military industrial complex who doesn't give a damn about anything except making bigger and more powerful weapons. We want to be able to blow up Mars, shoot the moon out of the sky, and oh my God, let's control the solar system and then the galaxy. And if there really is an alien race out there who is vastly superior to us, of course, they're not going to let that happen. We really need them to come here and get rid of the bullshit, in my opinion. But, people are going to say, yeah, the BYP, he's just ranting and raving. He doesn't know diddly spit. They're probably right. But I do know war is not the solution to all problems. And in that, my IQ will match the best of them, because I'm right. War will be our demise if we're not careful. And that's so unfortunate. But everybody loves to get bigger guns. Oh, I got a 44 Magnum. Oh, that's nothing. I got a gun that's 3 times stronger than that. Oh, that's nothing. I've got a machine gun that's 10 times stronger than yours. And you keep getting bigger and better. I can slaughter 500 million elk in one shot with my gun. Yeah, and then what? You move from elk to elephants. You move from elephants to rhinoceroses. You wipe out all the animals. And then what? You start wiping out all the humans. I mean, is that intelligent or is that just goddamn stupid? You tell me. You tell me. So, anyway, it's at an impasse as far as I'm concerned. I don't have the solution. I am just totally disgusted with all of it, as you can tell now. And so that's what I have tonight. The Joe Rogan interview with Garry Nolan is well worth the watch. Go watch it and enjoy it and realize that there's more to this entire complex subject than meets the eye. And we're all just trying to work through it, figure it out. And I don't know if any of us has any solutions yet. But we keep trying. And that's the human spirit that needs to prevail. We keep attempting to improve ourselves. It begins in us. It begins in us. So I hope peace will overcome the war tendencies of humanity. If not, the day will come where not only do all of us quit making podcasts and YouTube videos, but there ain't going to be none of you to enjoy them either. And is that what you want? Then we need to start making our voices heard loud and clear and start putting in better people into power, not the morons who are letting lawyers run our science. That's disgustingly stupid, in my opinion. And everyone's got their right to an opinion, right? That's mine. All right, you guys, I will catch up to you as soon as I can with more videos coming at you. Have a great night.